The Truxedo Low Pro Soft Roll-Up tonneau cover is the perfect addition to your 2010 to 2024 Ram 2500 or 3500 if you're after a clean look, quality materials, and easy operation. It sits lower than any other soft roll-up tonneau on the market and has some trick stuff integrated in it to keep it looking good and make it easy for you to use. The folks at Truxedo have managed to do something seemingly impossible by making a soft rolling cover that is seriously slick. Normally you've got big rails on the sides and that means the cover sits up high on the edges of your bed. This one though is different because it only sits about 3/4 of an inch above the bed rails, making it the lowest profile cover of its kind on the market. At a glance, you may not even notice that it's on the truck. Now the vinyl top here is grained for additional good looks, but the Low Pro also has an integrated automatic tension control system. So unlike some other soft covers, this one is going to stay nice and taut for its entire life, and you don't have to do anything to keep it that way. The ease of use continues in its operation, as you can quite literally do this one-handed. The latch is designed for one-finger operation, and the lightweight construction means that you can roll this up quickly and easily, giving you full access to your bed in no time flat. Just secure it with the included straps, and you can fill the bed space however you want. You can also remove the whole cover in seconds as well, because you've just got clips right on here that allow it to be released. So if you need the full bed and you need this off, you can do it in seconds. And therein lies the biggest benefit of a soft rolling cover. It's easy to use, but it still gives you plenty of security and protection. The cover itself is made from a high quality vinyl with a leather grain finish. Now vinyl is almost always the choice for this sort of application because it's really hard wearing, so it's going to look good and it's going to retain its structural integrity even in harsh climates. Underneath, you're going to find an aluminum frame that is finished in gloss black powder coat for additional good looks and durability. And also, it's super lightweight. The rails are made from that same aluminum with the same powder coating finish, and they have integrated premium hook and loop fasteners right here on the edge. So that, combined with large rubber seals at each end and on the sides, means that it's going to help keep dirt, water, and weather out as much as possible. Pricing ranges from about $625 to $675 depending on the size of your truck's bed. Of course, the larger the bed, the higher the price. Now that does put this in the upper end of the pricing spectrum for a soft rolling cover, but I can't overstate the quality of this one. If you value ease of use and thoughtful engineering, this is a great choice for your truck, and it's worth shelling out the additional money for this versus a less expensive option because it's going to look good and it's going to last you a long time. Installation gets a 1 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and the job should take you a bit over 30 minutes to complete. The installation is super easy, doesn't require you to drill or modify anything on your truck at all. Once you've got the rails situated, the cover will snap right into place and you can roll it back. We're going to walk you through the process right now, so for that, let's head on out to the shop.
For this install, you will need an impact, a 1/2-inch socket, a tape measure, and also not shown here is some scissors or cutters for your bulkhead seal. What's up guys, today we're going to be installing a tonneau cover on our Ram, so let's get started. Alright guys, so we're starting out up in the bed of the truck. Now one thing I want to point out is ours does have a spray-in bed liner with the rail caps on it, so the bulkhead of our bed is essentially flush, so we will not need our bulkhead seal. Now if you don't have either of this, or if there is a more drastic difference between the caps on your bed rail and your liner, you will need to install your bulkhead seal. Now, how you're going to go about that is basically unroll the bulkhead seal on the inside footprint of the bulkhead. Then you want to cut that down to length with scissors or something like that. And then you want to just remove the backing off the adhesive and stick that on the inside footprint of your bulkhead. So now we're going to install our inside corner seals, which are going to be the square seals in your pack. I'm just going to pull the cover off the adhesive. Then we want to stick this in the corner of our bed. That's going to prevent any moisture from coming down in here and kind of give it a nice seal so you can keep everything in your bed nice and dry. You want to do that on both sides of these front corners. So our next step is going to be to install our front rail seals. Now we have our driver's side rail up, and this side is going to be the one facing towards the front of the vehicle. You'll notice you have this kind of triangular section in here, so we're going to grab one of our triangular seals. Again, pull the cover back off that adhesive. These are very sticky, so it'll take you a second. We're going to get that right up in that opening. Push that in place. And you want to do that on both of your rails. Now we can set our rail in place and put our first clamp on. Now we have the driver's side. That's going to be the one with the release at the rear of the rail. We're going to get that flush with our bed rails and push that up against that corner seal About as far as it'll go. You should have roughly 3/8 of an inch between there and the back of your rail. Once we get that in place, we'll grab our first clamp. We're gonna go right in the middle of our rail. Then you wanna grab a 1/2 inch socket and snug this clamp down. Now you don't wanna fully tighten it just yet. We just want it snug enough to hold it in place so we can check everything and adjust if we need to. Now we've got our center clamp snug down. We've made any adjustments we need to make. You want to make sure the angled section of your rail that's going to hold your cover comes down about flush with your bed rail. Then we're going to add in our rear clamp. Now you want about 8 inches between your clamp and the back of your rail. We'll snug this down as well. Then we can do the same thing with our forward clamp. Now again, you want about 8 inches roughly back of the rail. Once you have this fully in place, you can do the same thing for the other side. Now we can install our end seals on our rails, which are these other angled ones. Now this is for any moisture that may get into the air gap between the bed and the tailgate. This is going to help direct this directly down under the tailgate instead of coming inside of the bed itself. So we'll grab our seal, take the cover off. Now you want to kind of point this towards basically where the edge of your bed and your rail meet. So up in here is going to be where the cover is, so that's going to help direct it itself. Stick that right there, kind of pointing it flush at the end, and then that's going to help that drain out that way instead of into the bed, which we don't want. So we'll do the same thing on the other side as well. Now it's time to set our cover in place. So we've got the front of our cover with the clamps facing downward. Set those into the footprint of our rails. Now once you've got the front of your cover centered up in your rails, we're going to grab these clamps. We're going to push down on the back of them, slide them into place, lock them on. That's going to hold it from going up and down. We'll do that on both sides, and then these screws are going to provide tension and centering. So we'll see where it lands and then adjust from here. Now we're going to fully unroll our cover and see if it needs any adjustments, if it's straight, and if it's going to lock up with our latches, and then we'll go from there. Now once we get to the end, get our latches in place, hook that in both sides, give that a push down and make sure it locks. Then you want to check your centering, make sure your Velcro goes on, and also make sure your tailgate closes. And we'll make sure our tailgate closes. That nice tight seal along there. As long as your tailgate closes, we can adjust from here, but we've got our set. Now once we got everything adjusted, pop this open. So you just release that latch, release your cover, roll this back up. Now to hold this in the open position, you have some straps, bend around, and then can hook into the rear latch. Now we'll go back and do a final tighten down of all of our clamps, again with our 1/2 inch socket. Then you can do the same thing for the other side. Alrighty folks, that about wraps up our review and install of our Truxedo Low Pro Soft Roll-Up tonneau cover for your 10 to current Ram 2500. Thanks for watching, and as always, for everything Ram, keep it right here at AmericanTrucks.com.